All right, you guys, so I've got the quarter panel all welded on. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Let me get you guys flip, show you. Finished product. So I'm going ahead now, I'm going ahead now and I'm sanding down my weld seams pretty far back so I can go ahead and lay some Bondo or some body filler on here. Body filler is only supposed to be applied on bare metal. So sanded it all the way back down to bare metal. I've started sanding this as well, but I need to actually sand another 3 inches both ways. Pretty much for every other seam. I've only gotten the door jamb seam sanded down. I don't know if I've shown you guys all of this. Sanded the weld down. I haven't hit this with the DA yet, so the sand scratches are pretty deep looking, but this should clean up pretty good, and it, for the most part, follows all the contours of the original body. Really happy about that. So, what I'm up to now is I'm gonna lay some body filler right there on that piece. So over here, I've got my Bondo body filler. I've got a really nice flexy Bondo spreader. I got some razor blades. This is just an old piece of granite that was on like an island centerpiece I had. And technically this is a porous surface, but I've been using this for a couple of years, and any tiny pinholes have been filled up by now. So pretty much what I do is make sure my surface is clean by hitting it with a razor blade. And then I have my acetone over here. I don't like to keep it near heat sources, but I'm gonna use some acetone to wipe the body down. Make sure that there's no dust, sand scratches, oily hands, anything on there. I'm gonna get all of that off using acetone. I use the acetone to clean my granite surface, my spreader as well. So I've already done all that. Everything's clean. My hands are super dried out. So you should use gloves when doing this. Unfortunately, right now with coronavirus, a box of gloves is $48, so I don't have any gloves. I'm doing this freehand. I'm gonna go ahead and set the camera up, and I'll mix up some Bondo and start laying it. Okay, so Bondo needs to be stirred up a little bit. It's a little, it's been sitting for a minute. Just got this old screwdriver. Make sure to clean it up afterwards. Okay, got hardener. I don't know which way the camera's facing. I'm gonna mix this up inside the bottle. This stuff likes to separate, turn liquidy. Oh, that stuff's a little runny, but that's okay. Put it over here on the side so that I'm not mixing up my whole batch in one piece. So it's really cold in the garage right now. It's only 55 degrees, so this stuff's real thick and doesn't want to mold around, but we'll get it working. It's real pink, so we want to lighten that up. There we go. A nice light pink color. Okay, I better go lay this before it starts getting hard. Going ahead and gonna try and lay some of this on. Okay, that's looking okay. Good first coat. So we're gonna lay this on a little heavy, but that's okay because a lot of this is coming back off. We're gonna put on 100% of Bondo and we're gonna sand 90% of it off. So usually that's how it goes. Okay, Bondo's starting to harden a little bit. I'm just gonna clean up some of my lines so that it's easier for me to sand later. Okay, so that is the first of 20 coats of Bondo to go on. Anybody that's done body work knows that's a joke, but kind of not really. So we're gonna go ahead and let this harden, come back, sand it, because we can't put Bondo over Bondo unless we sand it. So we're gonna come back, let this harden, come back, sand it with 80 grit, and hit it again with another coat, and keep on doing that until it's nice and smooth. It shouldn't take us too many coats. This wasn't too bad of a spot, actually. So we'll come back when this is all hard. All right, so it's been about an hour, and with my heat lamp, seems to have hardened it up pretty good. I've got a Duraflex, what do they call these? Durablock. I've got one of these Durablocks with some 36 grit. Oh, it doesn't tell us. 40 grit. So I've got this Durablock. It's like a 12-inch flat block with some 3M 40 grit on it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and keeping a flat block, follow all these body lines, sand this guy down, and I'll get back to you when I'm finished sanding it. All right, I've gone ahead and sanded off all the excess Bondo. Got a little bit of a pile going on the floor. It took me about, let's see, 20 minutes to do. I used my long block, like I said, with the 40 grit to really get use a long block so that it cuts straight. We're not digging in weird positions. Like if we were just using a piece of sandpaper, I could be digging in right here and not spreading the sandpaper over evenly. So use a long block to sand everything evenly. And I went over with my DA just to get any pinholes or anything that wasn't hit with the sandpaper, because that'll be like a low spot. But it has to be sanded or else the Bondo won't stick back to the Bondo. So those dark spots need to all be sanded out. Everything's been sanded. I didn't show you any of those light spots that didn't, like that pinhole needs to be sanded out. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and lay another coat of Bondo, sand that off, and repeat until I'm happy with this panel. And I will show you guys pretty much when it's done, because otherwise there'd be a whole lot of footage of me sanding. So I'll finish this panel up and show you guys when it's done, and then I'll jump on these next ones and show you those when they're done. Okay, so here's that primer that I was talking about. I've got some Duplicolor medium build sandable primer. It says it fills light scratches and sands. So got this guy shaken up. I'm gonna go ahead and, I've already wiped all this down with acetone. I should have cleaned up my mess first, but probably be okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray a light coat. Hopefully we don't get any fish eyes, and then I'll spray a heavy coat from there. So I sanded this with 40 grit. I know that this primer isn't going to fill in all my sand scratches. Like I said, I'm mostly doing this so that I can see visually what the door jamb is looking like without any kind of optical illusion from all the different colors giving me a weird look. So happy with that. I'm gonna let that dry. I'll put on another coat. And then from here, I'll take my sanding block, swap out to some 80 grit, block it with 80 grit, see where my highs and lows are, do another skim coat of Bondo, and hopefully this panel here should be done.
All right, so while I'm waiting for that panel to dry, mixed up some Bondo, letting this guy dry. Gonna go ahead, I've sanded this farther back, so I'm gonna lay some Bondo on here, let that dry, and get ready to sand this piece. And the only other spot that I'll need some Bondo is back here in this jamb and on this back panel. which you'll never see because of the bumper, but I'm going to body work it anyway. So I'm going to start laying some mud on there, and I'll show you guys when I'm done.